Welcome, apprentices and acolytes, to Unlock the Knowledge. And today, we're going to be talking about why Star Wars is dead? What? Ready up.
Ready up. My destiny.
Welcome, apprentices and acolytes, to Unlock the Knowledge. You know, the podcast heard all around the galaxy. And of course, it doesn't matter where you are, you can hear it anywhere, including inside the Dark Temple, visited by Mara Jade, Luke Skywalker, and Kyle Katarn, and so many of the Force sensitives like yourself. I'm so glad you're here. Thank you for coming. I appreciate you all. I am Lord Dagovere, and it's time to unlock the knowledge. Fam, Star Wars is dead. No, it's not. It's I cannot fathom when people say things like this. All right, this is all right. This is what we're gonna do. We're gonna go to Disney Shop right now. Okay, Disney Shop, and I'm gonna do this. I'm going to type in the Stellan Geos lightsaber, and this is what I want to see. I want to see right now, as I type this, if this lightsaber is sold out. Oh, I can't even buy it. It's gone. It's gone. Damn, it's gone. Damn, bro, it's gone already. All right, I was not expecting that. I was not. I thought it was gonna be. Oh, but anyway, Star Wars is dead. By the way, that's the point I'm trying to make. Is yeah, I mean, Star Wars is dead to the point where the most expensive lightsaber that they've created right now is gone, scalped. I bet you can find it probably online. Scalped. Oh, they have the Disney Special Access Kanan Jarrus lightsaber. What is that? What does the Special Access mean though? Okay, cool. So I can get that. But anyway, Star Wars is dead. Absolutely, 100%. And so to me, it makes no sense when people say Star Wars is dead, because honestly, Star Wars was kind of dead after the prequel trilogy. And what I mean in terms of that is, like, there was no more content. I mean, yes, you had Clone Wars, of course, and then you had the comics in the expanded universe, but nothing physical media was happening. There was no major TV shows or movies. And, you know, even before that, in the original trilogy, everyone talks about the dark times, and that was late 80s, you know, in the 90s, where nothing was happening outside the expanded universe, and that's why there was so much excitement for the Heir to the Empire trilogy, right? And then even something like the Dark Empire series, which is, you know, it's pretty polarizing. There's a lot of people, even like hardcore Legends fans like myself, you know, we kind of look at the Dark Empire series and we're like, well, yeah, I mean, that's kind of cool, but there's a lot of stuff in that comic book series and book series that, man, is not great, you know? There's a lot of weird, crazy things, especially with Luke Skywalker trying to kill Han Solo, allows Princess Leia to be shocked by the Emperor, and of course threatens Han Solo as well. And it's so funny how they talk about, you know, like Jake Skywalker, you know, and Jake Skywalker is the person in The Last Jedi. He's not the real Luke, not my Luke. And then, you know, in Last Jedi, yeah, he tries to kill Ben for a moment. He has the thought. He thinks about it, right? And that's the whole point of that, which, you know, took me honestly like a year to really understand that it was the thought. For like a moment it was there, and then it passed like a fleeting shadow. And, you know, even with that Dark Empire series, man, I mean, like, Luke is literally out there commanding Darth Vader's fleet, you know, the previous fleet, the Emperor's fleet. And then he's doing all that bidding as a Darksider and serving the Emperor just because he feels like he can't beat the Emperor and he has to, you know, succumb to his ways in the dark side, and that's the only way to beat him. Which is, if you haven't read the Dark Empire series, I think it's so intriguing what is going on in that. You know, of course, that's approved by George at that point, and a lot of the expanded universe George did not care about, you know, and that's one thing as a hardcore Legends fan that I have to understand to myself, which ultimately made me love Star Wars. I obsessed over Star Wars because of the expanded universe. Because, you know, outside the movies, that's all you have. And after, you know, when you get older, you start to see, oh, well, all right, yeah, okay, man, yeah, maybe what's happening in this book or what's happening in this video game is not what, you know, the creator, and, you know, and this wasn't intended. You know, especially characters like that and versions of that and the iterations of, Dark Empire, and there's so much more out there as well. Especially, like, with the novel of, like, Darth Plagueis, and then, of course, the Bane trilogy as well. Yes, George Lucas alluded to a great Sith war that happened between the Jedi and the Sith, and the Sith ultimately were, became extinct because of another Sith. There are certain things that he said, but I don't know if we'll ever really know what he really thought about these things. And it's not like he hated the expanded universe, he loved, he was intrigued by several characters, including Quinlan Vos, And then, of course, now you hear about the plans for his version of the sequel trilogy, and then Darth Talon is in there, and Darth Maul, which I find so intriguing as well, because, my God, George Lucas loved his Twi'leks. My God, he loved his Twi'leks. But how he would bring back Darth Maul. And I wonder if there is something in those old DVDs of The Phantom Menace, the behind the scenes, and Attack of the Clones about, maybe they made Darth Maul too good, and that's kind of why they had to bring him back. So I wonder if he ever felt a certain way about that. Because, of course, they bring him back in the Clone Wars animated series, and they flesh him out even more. But here's the thing, too. Star Wars, in my opinion, being dead is such a silly thing. Even with fans back then, with the prequel trilogy, who hated the prequel trilogy. And for all you fans out there, that are just like me, that love Anakin Skywalker, okay? We love the prequel trilogy era. The prequel trilogy is probably, like, my favorite because of Anakin. But I also want future things because I just don't want to be stuck in one time frame. And it's funny where, like, recently someone had said, oh, this is a full-blown consumer moment. And I don't think that's the insult they think it is. Why wouldn't I want to consume something that I love consistently over and over? I don't understand it. If I love it and I'm enjoying it, why won't I get more of it? And at a certain point, it's that type of fan that's saying, well, haha, you're ultimately, losing the deal here because you think this stuff is great. Majority of it, yes. The Last Jedi? No. Rise of Skywalker? No. Kenobi? No. Book of Boba Fett? Maybe sometimes. It depends. Star Wars Resistance? No. Ahsoka? Hell yes. The Force Awakens? Yes, absolutely. Andor? Yes, for sure. The Mandalorian? Hell yeah. What about Season 3? Not as great as the other two, but fantastic. And I just don't understand. And I'm never going to understand, too, because I thought we got past this point in the prequel trilogy. I thought we got past the point of hating the creators, right? To the point where we think now that it's no longer beneficial for these people to be in control of this franchise that we know and love. And I'm talking about George Lucas, for the hate of George Lucas. We bullied and hated George Lucas to the point he literally talked about how making movies wasn't fun anymore. He literally says that. It is verbatim of what I just said. Making movies is not fun anymore. And then you have people that believe that he wasn't allowed to keep the rights to Star Wars, and that now I don't know if that's just a conspiracy or what, but he sells it off to Disney. And so as Disney is in control of it, you have Kathleen Kennedy, who George Lucas wanted to be in control of. And then now you have Dave Filoni, which everybody had been wanting Dave Filoni to take the helms and be a part of it, because we all believe that Dave Filoni was the Padawan, right? The apprentice of George Lucas, the creator. But now you see so many other fans turning on him because of his issues as a writer. And dude, Dave Filoni is not perfect, but to tell me that Dave Filoni is not good for Star Wars, I think is, I don't know. I don't know where the motivation is that's influencing people to believe that. Because when you get to a point now where everyone is just doing bad because, oh, well, you know what, Dave Filoni brought back Ahsoka, he just couldn't do it anymore. I don't know why he couldn't keep the character dead. And then he's also doing this, and he's making, he stood up for women of the Force and all these things, and about Star Wars being a woman when I can't remember what kind of ceremony it was where he was talking about it, like he gave a lecture or something, but I remember people talking about that and getting really mad about him and being there. But Dave Filoni, I think, has been great for Star Wars. Dave Filoni has put in so much work since Lucasfilm Animation, even then. And you know about the story and what The Mandalorian goes into about him, working at Nickelodeon, before that working King of Hill, and, he's got so much experience, and he excels, in my opinion, with the animation part of it. And you see a lot of that transition now into the live-action experience, and I think that he's perfect for telling these stories that are connected to the expanded universe and post-Return of the Jedi, because he's ultimately been filled with that, not just as a fan, but his experience as a writer and a director for animation. And now that he has more power, I think you're going to see a lot of more cohesiveness through the stories. And a lot of people are fearing that he is going to change everything and ruin everything, and all these ideas like the Acolyte or like a Skeleton Crew. I don't think that's going to happen at all. I think that man is way too busy to be changing all of these stories. I think he's going to look at it and say, like, yeah, this is great. Just make sure you do this. I don't think he's going to completely ruin someone's idea. He's just going to do his best to help make it fit into Star Wars, into lore, into the George Lucas way. And I don't know why that would be bad. I don't know why that would be a bad thing. Hell, I wish this happened before the sequel trilogy. I wish he was able to help make The Mandalorian, help make Ahsoka before the sequel trilogy. Because I think the sequel trilogy would have been ultimately better for all of us, including Anakin Skywalker stands, because I think that he would have tried to say something or alluded to something in some way to help that, because I do believe Anakin Skywalker is the most important character in Star Wars, and I'll die on that hill forever. But that's just me in thinking about how Star Wars is dead. I just don't see how something like Star Wars can die when you're continuously making products for it. Consumers are still, to this day, selling out products. Dude, it is... Well, it's so damn hard to get a Funko Pop. A freaking Funko Pop. An exclusive Funko Pop, this Funko Pop, a GameStop Funko Pop. If you do not get certain of these merchandise, they are gone. Yes, not every single thing sells out, but that's just because that's just the freaking industry. And marketing and memorabilia these days, yes, you want to make less for everybody, but there's still so many obscure characters that people like. For instance, like Cobb Vanth. I had to get that Funko Pop the first day. And I didn't. I'm trying to look at the other one. Oh, the Mandalorian riding on the Bantha? Dude, that was... The Funko Pop that I have was so incredibly hard to get. The Mandalorian Black Series helmet was also sold out for like half a year in Orlando. And I had I live right next to the parks as well. And that shoot was freaking so hard to get, man. And there's some days where a lot of the stuff goes out. Thankfully, they've been making more, But even to this day, there are things that continue to sell out. People are still talking about it. And I don't think Star Wars can be dead if a topic consistently pops up in your algorithm. For instance, like a certain creator talking about how the creation is dead, how Star Wars is dead. Or a certain influencer on Twitter wants to talk about The Last Jedi, or wants to talk about The Rise of Skywalker, or wants to talk about how Kenobi was the worst thing ever, or Kenobi was the greatest thing ever because the last scene, I just don't get it, man. I thought the whole point of it is, at least, like, all attention is good attention, right? At least if they're talking about you, there's nothing to worry about, because when it's silent, for instance, like Tron, I love Tron so much. Tron, to me, even though there's a third movie in the works, is practically dead. You have no video games. There is rarely any merchandise going out for that. And I feel like Star Wars killed Tron, because as soon as they got the license to Star Wars, they just I feel like they just didn't care about Tron anymore. And now we have the Disney ride, and the Disney ride's pretty cool. I don't know if you've been there in the Magic Kingdom. But they have some awesome merchandise. I think you can even get your own program or user, which is pretty awesome. That like has your face. It was pretty sick. I really love the experience. But there's a lot of franchises that are out there that are dead, and that might not ever come back. But Star Wars is not that. No matter how much you dislike what's currently happening with the franchise, and you know what? There is a lot of stuff that deserves scrutiny and criticism. I don't think I'm ever going to get over the fact that they killed Luke Skywalker in The Last Jedi and that they killed Ben Solo in The Rise of Skywalker, you know? Because that, to me, honestly hurt the most out of everything that has happened. Kenobi was you know, and that's fine. I really didn't care too much about Kenobi at the start just because I loved the Legends book so much. And I kind of feel like the Legends book and the Kenobi series kind of go well together, actually. I think they still could have existed. But Kenobi was just a disappointment. It could have been a lot better. Book of Boba Fett, yeah, it was a disappointment, but there's some amazing episodes and there's some awesome stuff in there. And, you know, the Mando stuff is obviously what everyone talks about as peak. But I even think, like, the first 2 episodes of Book of Boba Fett are great. Finale's not so great, though. I did not think the finale was good, but I don't know. I'm just kind of going off in a tangent, man. All I'm trying to say is, going through the prequel era of Star Wars, and I'll never forget everyone destroying George Lucas, hating George Lucas, hating Hayden Christensen, hating Jar Jar, Ahmad Best, hating Jake Lloyd, hating all of these actors, and so many people were talking about how this isn't my Star Wars. George Lucas raped my childhood. Just George Lucas killed it. It's no longer Star Wars. And now it's the same thing. And I feel like I've been talking like this for the last couple podcasts because I don't think anyone's gonna get over it. But I think Ahsoka for me was like a look into the future of what Star Wars can be when it's told from someone who enjoys each era of Star Wars. Yes, Dave Filoni he's not perfect. I get it. I understand. Okay, and I understand the differences between the dialogue and the writing between Andor and the dialogue and the writing in Ahsoka. You know, I get it, guys. I understand. But Star Wars has never been perfect. Star Wars has always had errors. Star Wars is a film that barely even made it onto the screen and literally used the last frame of film back in the day because they literally needed that just to fill the movie. All right? And I feel like that's just also the magic and the miracle of Star Wars. It wasn't even supposed to be here in the first place. And here we are with something amazing and beautiful. And don't let anyone tell you that this franchise is dead. Don't let anyone allow you to think that what you enjoy for Star Wars is bad. Because you know what? Those people that are telling you that, I'm not even sure that they were truly fans of Star Wars. And if they were, they're just so consumed by their hate, they want you all to suffer with them. And they want you all to not enjoy what's happening in the present or the future. So just keep your head down. Don't listen to that. And if you love Ahsoka, shoot, man. If you love The Last Jedi, cool, awesome. I'm so freaking happy for you. You know, I can't get into it as much as you, but I'm glad that you're enjoying it and you're not allowing anyone else to say anything bad about your favorite film. But just go out there and do it. And Star Wars isn't dying anytime soon, fam. They are never letting go of that franchise, especially when it, you know, grosses billions of dollars in theaters. And just wait. Just wait, because the next time a Star Wars movie is there, it'll gross. It'll get a bunch of money. It'll profit. It always does. You know. So, and it's funny because even with Solo was a pretty solid average film, just not compared to Star Wars, what it usually does. But don't go out there, man. Star Wars isn't dead. It's nowhere near dead, fam. I don't want to say it's thriving, but I think that there is a very beautiful, very, very beautiful, bright future on the horizon. So we'll see when we get there. But anyway, whatever happens next, just keep doing your thing, and the podcast will always be here inside the Dark Temple, visited by Mara Jade, Luke Skywalker, and Kyle Katarn, and so many of the Force sensitives like yourself. I am Lord Dagovere, and I'll see you around, fam. Deuces.